We're now going to be factoring trinomials in which the coefficient of x squared is going to be greater than 1. Notice here that we have a 2. In the past, we had an understood 1. But now our coefficients are going to be greater than 1. Now, here's how we work these problems. We're going to start off in the back, and this plus sign tells us that our signs are going to be the same. All right? Now, I want you to notice that I left a little space in there because this requires a third sign. But the rule's the same. All signs are going to be addition. So I'm going to put addition here, here, and here. Now, you are going to bring down that 2x squared, put that in the front. You're going to take that 12, and you're going to put that in the back. Then you're going to put an x here and an x here. Now we need to know what numbers go here. Before we said what factors of 12 do we add to get 10, but we can't do that because we have a coefficient greater than 1. So what we have to do is take this coefficient and multiply it times 12, which gives us 24. And we ask ourselves, what factors of 24 do I add to get 10? And for the sake of time, I'm going to tell you that it is 4 and 6. So I'm going to put a 4 here and a 6 here. It doesn't matter. You could have put the 6 here, could have put the 4 there. It doesn't matter. Now, this is different. We're going to have to factor our terms inside of our parentheses. So with the 2 and the 4, the greatest common factor is 2, so I'm going to take that out. And for my x squared and my x, the greatest common factor is x. For our purposes, we're always going to factor out an x. We may not always have to factor out a number, but we are always going to factor out at least an x. All right, now let's see what we're left with. When we factor out the 2x from the 2x squared, we're left with x plus, and when we factor out the 2x from the 4x, we're left with 2. Bring down your plus sign. Now my greatest common factor of my 6 and my 12 is 6, so I'm going to factor that out, and I'm left with x plus 2. And what I want you to notice is here we have the same factor, x plus 2, so we're going to factor that out. And once I factor that out, I want you to notice that I'm going to be left with 2x plus 6. And that is my answer. Okay, for example number 2, we have 3x squared plus 11x plus 10. All right, I want you to notice that I have a plus sign in the back because we always start in the back with our signs. And once again, the signs are going to be the same. In this case, it's going to be addition. So do not forget that when you have a coefficient greater than 1, that you have to have that extra sign right here. All signs are addition, so I'm going to put a plus sign here, here, and here. Bring down your 3x squared, which is your first term. That goes in the front. Your last term goes in the back. Don't forget x, x. Now, I'm going to multiply my 3 times my 10, and that gives me 30. And the question I ask is, what factors of 30 do I add to get 11? And for the sake of time, it's going to be 5 and 6. 5 here, 6 here. Now, I cannot factor anything out with the 3 and the 5, but I can factor out an x. Remember, we will always factor out an x. And that leaves 3x plus 5. There's my plus sign. The greatest common factor of my 6 and 10 is 2. And when I factor the 2 out from each of these terms, I'm left with 3x plus 5. Once again, notice that it is the same, 3x plus 5, 3x plus 5. So I'm going to factor out my 3x plus 5, and look what's left, x plus 2. Okay? Okay, for my next examples, I have 2x squared minus 7x plus 6. All right, we're still going to start in the back with the plus sign. The signs are still going to be the same. And this time, they're all going to be subtraction. Bring down your 2x squared. Bring down your 6xx. Now, I'm going to multiply my 2 and my 6. I get 12. The question is, what factors of 12 do I add to get 7? And it's going to be 3 and 4. I'll put a 3 here and a 4 here. I can't factor out the 2 and the 3, but I can factor out an x. And that leaves 2x minus 3 minus, with the 4 and the 6, I can factor out a 2. That's going to leave 2x minus 3. And my same factors of 2x minus 3 are in each term. So I factor them out. And notice I'm going to be left with x minus 2. For my fourth example, I have 10x squared minus 21x plus 9. All right. For the signs, you start in the back. The signs are going to be the same. They're all going to be subtraction. Minus, minus, minus. I bring down my first term, 10x squared. I bring down my last term. I put an x here and an x there. Now, I ask myself, what factors of 10 times 9, which is 90, do I add and get 21? And it is going to be 6 and 15. So I'll put a 6 here, 15 here. All right, now I'm going to see what the greatest common factor of 10 and 6 is, and it's going to be a 2, and I have to factor out the x, and that leaves 5x minus 3 minus the greatest common factor of 15 and 9 is 3, and that leaves 5x minus 3. Common factors, 5x minus 3, and what's left is 2x minus 3. All right, now, that's how the problems work when the signs are the same. Let's see what happens when the signs are different. And while we're on that subject, how do we know that the signs are different? Because we always start in the back, and the sign in the back is a subtraction sign. That means the signs are going to be different. So for number 5, I have 2x squared minus 11x minus 21. Okay, the signs are different. But there's a little dilemma now, because the signs are different. Where does the plus sign go? Where does the minus sign go? You're always going to start in the front for the sign in the middle. Whatever sign is in the front goes in the middle. So we start in the back because it is a subtraction sign. We know the signs are different. And when we write out parentheses, this sign, no matter what it is, always goes right here. Then we're going to put the plus signs here. See, the signs are different. Minus here, plus there. I bring down the 2x squared. I bring down the 21. That's the first term. That's the last term. Now I'm going to multiply my 2 times 21. That gives me 42. And I ask myself, what factors of 42 do I subtract and get 11? And I've done the work for you, and it is going to be let's see, I think it's going to be 3 and 14. 3 and 14, because 14 minus 3 is 11. Now, here's the thing you're going to have to remember. We have that special number, and it's going to be the larger factor, which is 14, and the larger factor always, I didn't put my x's, I do apologize. Got to put your x's. the larger factor is 14, and this is where the larger factor always goes, right there, after that sign. And I'm going to put the 3 here. Now, when I go to factor, it's no greatest common factor with the numbers, but I factor out an x. That leaves me 2x plus 3 minus the greatest common factor of 14 and 21 is 7. That leaves me 2x plus 3. And now I have my common factors of 2x plus 3. And look what's left, x minus 7. Now, for my last example, number 6, I'm going to have 6x squared plus x minus 15. All right, starting the back for the signs. The signs are different. Big question is, which one goes in the middle? It's always going to be this one. Now I'm going to put my 6x squared. I'll go on and put my x's. Oh, I forgot to put my plus sign here, so minus signs go there. I put an x here, and the 15 has to go there. So once again, the plus sign goes in the middle, which means I have to have minus signs inside the parentheses. This is the first term, that's the last term. When I multiply the 6 and the 15, I get 90. And the question is, what factors of 90 do I subtract and get 1? Because we know there's an understood 1 right there. And it's going to be 9 and 10. The larger factor is 10, that's the special one. So he has to go right here because the larger factor always goes right there. That means that the smaller factor, which is 9, goes here. Now I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor of 6 and 9, which is 3, x squared and x, which is x. And I'm left with 2x minus 3 plus, I'm going to factor out a 5 here. That leaves me with 2x minus 3. And as you can see, my common factors are 2x minus 3 times 3x plus 5. And notice in both cases, the signs are different here and different there. So basically, the rules are going to be the same as far as starting in the back. If it's a plus sign, all the signs are the same. If it is a subtraction sign, the signs are different. And if the signs are different, you must put this sign in the middle. The sign in the front goes in the middle, and then the other signs are going to be the same, whatever the other signs are. And that is how you factor trinomials in which the coefficient of x squared is greater than 1.